And so that left me and my sister at 17. I was 17 and she was 16 as orphans. And so, you know, we woke up as happy-go-lucky kids. And then by the end of that night, we were orphans, and mom was gone to heaven and dad was gone to jail. And left to just pretty much manage on our own. And we faked the funk because we lived in the house by ourselves. Nobody knew we didn't have any adults there with us, because my mom had groomed me to take care of us. She was always, you gotta do this, you gotta do this, and you gotta do that. But when we got to dad's sentencing in the system, nobody asked me any questions. I wasn't even called to testify. And my dad was sentenced to 7 years with 5 years suspended. So he only served 24 months for murder. And I can say premeditated murder because he said he was going to kill her. There was no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And he was afforded a plea bargain without any consultation with me and my sister whatsoever. And at 17, I think I was old enough, confident enough to at least to have some input, but I wasn't afforded that opportunity. But that's not to say that because my dad murdered my mom that he was a bad person. I still had to honor him because he was my father. I still had to take care of him because he was my father. So my mother's mother, and that's my mother on the wall there. So everybody that walks in this place gets to see her face here and upstairs. But my mother's mother lived to be 100 years old in 5 days. And when my dad murdered my mother, she sat me and my sister down, and my mother was her baby child. And she told us that we could not hate him, and we could not allow this action to allow the devil to consume us and redirect the paths that God had for us. And we had to obey the Lord, and we had to still honor our mother and our father. And even though our mother was gone, we still had to take care of him. And his issue with my mother was he didn't think that I was his child. So I grew up hearing that all of my life. But at the end, when he came home, he still had the house that he owned. He still had the car that he owned. He still had everything as if he had gone away on vacation, because I maintained all of that in his absence. And when he developed lung cancer, and I had to be his caretaker, but I always allowed my sister to make the decisions about his health, because I never wanted to be put in a position where it's that I would not make the best decision for him. But when he took his last breaths of life, he was there and I was here along with my sister and our children. So we did not have a day of regret to say what we should have done, or that because we allowed his actions to intervene as to what type of children we were supposed to be and what type of human beings we were supposed to be. And so when I share that story, because most people, and especially kids, they ask, well, why didn't you shoot him? Why didn't you kill him? It's like we have to understand that life happens to us once, and we all have those moments where it's just a flash of a second as to what decision do we make. But we have to be accountable for our actions. And no matter what is positive or negative, we still can fix that on the other side. Just because we did this one thing don't mean that we can't do 1,000 other great things. Absolutely. And that's how we have to look at society. So, you know, I was happy to be a part of this and to be partnered with everybody, because we're all God's children, and he made us and he gave us this journey, and no life is exempt. And so for those of you that have lost, and we all lose, because anytime we lose a life to be gone with the good Lord, but which we know we all born with the date in mind, and the good Lord is the only one know that when we're supposed to go. And we have to understand the catalyst by which people go is out of our control, but it is the experience for those two individuals and the individuals that's left behind. That's where the deep root of the work is supposed to be. That experience is about your work, because my life experience, that's what burns my fire. That's what keeps me going. And I know that my mom was only supposed to live to be 33 years old. She was supposed to birth me. She was supposed to prepare me for the work that I'm doing now. And it's been 38 years since she's been gone out of my life and out of my world. But physically, but she's here with me each and every day. And so that's not to negate the life of Mr. Adams, because he was a very, very important man in my life. Okay? And so that's why we're here. And we have to always take ourselves out of the equation. And if we really believe in the good Lord, we know that he already knows before we get to that point, and he knows what's to come. And we have to trust, and we have to believe that it's going to always be all right, because it is not believing in what we can see, because faith is all about what you cannot see. And that you have to take those steps, whether they feel good or not. You have to move into those spaces so that you can be in the place that he needs you to be, for him to be able to do the work that he has designated specifically for you. And those of you that's trying to shy away from the work that he got designated for you, you can't get away. You can't get away. You can't get away.